Paul Nasari on Radio 2 BACR, 100.9 FM. Jeff, the Marrickville Mauler Fenech, arguably the greatest boxer that Australia has ever produced. In boxing, Jeff has done it all. Represented Australia at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, a three-division provisional professional world champion, a world champion trainer, manager, promoter, TV commentator. Jeff, it is an absolute honour to have you on our show, Jeff Fenech. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, Paul, thank you, mate. Why do I have to wait fucking 5 years? Why do I have to wait 5 years to get on, mate? That's nice of me, Paul.
You've been on a few times, but we just had a quick chat. You've got time for me today, Jeff, at least 40 minutes?
I've always got time for you, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. What I ask every special guest that comes on here, let's go to the very beginning. How did Jeff Fenech get started in boxing?
Paul, for me it was an accident. I never wanted to box in my life. I played rugby league and I went to a youth club one day. I went to the Union Police Youth Club. Definitely not to box. This was there. Missed some friends were looking around and we weren't there obviously to box, but I said as we were walking through the youth club, looking on the front door, there was a little glass window. You could look in there and I seen a friend of mine from school named Mark Cribb, who was a former Australian champion, a very good fighting. So I thought, all my friends were leaving. I'd sit down and watch him, and sat down, watched him, and this trainer that was there at the time, Johnny Lewis, was talking about getting him some sparring. So I put my hand up and said that I would do that. And he asked me, had I fought before? I said no. And anyway, one thing led to another, and I was in the ring getting beat up by Mark Cribb for the first time. So that's how it all started.
Wow, that's how it all started. Okay. Please tell us about your amateur career.
My amateur career was pretty fast. I only had 28 fights totally, but I had a great trainer and mentor in Johnny Lewis who set me goals and always said to me, Jeff, you do the right thing, you be A's and train hard, you could be a state champion, you could be an Australian champion. I really didn't believe what he was saying at the time, but I just trained hard and all of a sudden I became state champion, Australian champion. I travelled all around the world, and I went to Ireland, I went to Bangkok, Indonesia, to Rome, and after 13 or 14 fights, I won a bronze medal in the World Cup in Rome, which put me on a list that was capable of getting chosen for the Olympics. In early '84, they chose the Australian Olympic boxing team, and I was blessed to be part of it, Paul. So I travelled to Los Angeles in those hot summer months over there, and I represented Australia at the '84 Olympics.
Yeah, that would have been a buzz. That's every amateur's fighter's dreams. Okay, so you went to the '84 Olympics. You said your career was going fast as an amateur. You won your first two fights at the Olympics, but in your third, you met that Rebzowski. The judges awarded you the fight only for a jury to overturn the decision in favour of your opponent. Your Olympic dream ended. Looking back at your Olympic experience, what are your feelings towards it today, mate?
Obviously, there's disappointment. Judges are the people who adjudicate, and the judges said that I won the fight. Mm-hmm. And after waiting a little time in the ring, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't even know there was a jury. I didn't know nothing about the jury. I didn't know. When the judges say you win, you win. But it was the first time in Olympic boxing history that somebody's decision was overturned, and it happened to be mine. I was pretty devastated because that had already guaranteed me a bronze medal, and then my next fight, if I had fought and won, it would have been guaranteeing me a silver if I won, and then I would have had the opportunity to fight for the gold medal. And like I said, an Australian's never won a gold medal, and I'm not saying I would have won, Paul, but I was getting more and more confident with every fight, and for me it was shattering. I mean, I couldn't march because I had to fight the first day in the opening ceremony, and then the great thing at the Olympics is the after party when it's all over, Paul. But I was so cranky and disappointed the next morning after my fight. I just jumped on the plane and went straight home. So I am like I said, but the one thing I do remember, and I did say in my interview with Graham McNeese that night on Channel 10, I said, Graham, if I don't let me win a gold medal for Australia, I'm going to go home and I'm going to win a world title. So it was as upsetting as it was. I think it was a great lesson for me, and it really motivated me, gave me heaps more confidence and motivation that I've just competed against the best in the world as an amateur after 27 fights, 28 fights, and I can go home and turn pro, and I could maybe win a world title. That was my mindset.
Well, I I remember that coming on the news about the Los Angeles, and everybody in the country was shocked. I remember the day. Okay, so you lived up to what you said. You've turned pro in 1984 in October. You had a blistering start to your pro career, winning 4 fights in 3 months. Your third fight, you won the Australian Super Flyweight title, stopping Junior Thompson in 4 rounds at the Marrickville RSL. What's your memories of that fight? Geez, we're going back now, aren't we?
Yeah, but I have good recollection of that. Like I said, Junior Thompson was this real skillful little Indigenous boy, an Aboriginal boy who had great skills, great speed, and had many more fights than me. But like I said, my pressure he couldn't handle, and after a few rounds, they stopped the fight. I think it could have even been Johnny Gauchi in that fight, but the referee stopped the fight, and I became Australian champion. Something that it's just crazy that you said that today, because I'm just talking to Peter Casey, and Peter Casey's just talking about the guy who's this was just this morning, Paul, that Peter Casey was talking about the guy who sponsored that fight for the Australian title, a gentleman by the name of Les Kalachi, and
wow.
he just this morning we spoke about it. I said, it's great. He'll bring that up, and so I was very, very blessed to be Australian champion, and it was a great honour to be Australian champion. Yeah.
Okay, in your 6th month as a professional boxer, you defeated Japanese world champion Satoshi Shingaki in the 9th round to win the IBF Bantamweight Championship. We all remember that too. Looking back, what's your memories of that fight? Now, I just played the end of that at the start of the show. You probably missed it. But what a great... that was great for Australian boxing when you won that.
Definitely so. Yeah, like Paul's, 196 days is the shortest time ever from amateur to professional at that time. And then, it was something that, a lot of these old-time fighters didn't think I could do it because it was 15 rounds. We were fighting 15 rounds back in there, and they were all saying, how's he going to do it? He hasn't fought 15 rounds. But Paul, you were one of my sparring partners, not for that fight, but later on in my career. And I always trained hard, as you know, and people didn't realise that I'd sparred 15 rounds on many occasions prior to that fight. So I was ready for the fight. There's, like a lot of people saying, like, how do you fight 15 rounds if you haven't fought it? Well, you prepare for it. My preparation was impeccable. Johnny Lewis and I trained, and we sparred 15 rounds on numerous occasions, and not against one opponent. We got 4 or 5 people in and out of the ring. So I was superbly fit. Look, and I was confident. I was quietly confident, Paul, that I could do. I could become world champion. That was my dream, and it happened on the 26th of April in '85. And it was a start of a great career and a great ride for me.
It sure was. All your ex-sparring partners, we always get together at the reunion and say it was like boxing Jeff Fenech was like having 2 or 3 blokes on you. You just were relentless, and that's what you did to most of your opponents, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I tried to make them. That was my strength. Well, I was super fit. I could throw a lot of punch. Obviously, as you guys knew, I had really bad damaged hands. So my plan was not to punch them as hard, but to punch them more times than they've been hit. And if you can make somebody fight, you'll fight. Your game plan usually can be successful. My game plan was to drag them into a fight where they had to stand there and fight me. And when that happened, I was successful most of the time.
Okay, you rematched Shingaki 4 months later, and this time you stopped him in the 4th round on cut. You'd think he would have given up by now. What was evident to everyone who watched the fight was the huge improvement you made in the 4 months. What's your recollections of the second rematch?
Well, one of the recollections was obviously I was super confident because I was world champion now. But one of the things I do realise is I seen that one of his trainers who was in the corner in the first fight was now the judge.
Oh, so, no. Didn't know that.
That was a little typical of the IBF back in those days, but it's all changed today. But there was a big inquiry into the fight, why a rematch was demanded. So it was a huge thing, an inquiry into the IBF about those things those days. But like I said, they're a great organisation. They're run by some great people. But look, I just thought, like I said, Paul, I was improving every fight. Remember, I'd had 28 amateur fights. Now I'm into my 8th or 9th professional fight. And, I was just getting better every fight. I was improving, and then I wanted to show that the first fight was no fluke. I wanted to show that when you become world champion, you get better, and I was getting better each fight.
You sure were. In December '85, now what was that this bout? You faced your mandatory challenger Jerome Coffey for your title. You won a decisive unanimous decision. Looking back at that fight, the referee Rudy Battle broke you guys up quickly, not allowing you to work in close. Do you think you would have stopped Coffey if you had another referee that fight?
Oh, definitely so. Listen, the referee was put there for a reason. When I went,
I love how you're dead right, mate.
Yeah, when I went home, Paul, one thing I didn't realise was when I watched obviously I had videos of Jerome Coffey fighting. What I did realise is after, when I went home and just was watching some old videos of his fight, Rudy Battle was a referee in three or four of his fights I watched. So, yeah, like I said, back in the day, not back in the day, and still to this day, there's a lot of corruption in the sport. And he was there for a reason. He was there to try to help Jerome Coffey, who was 26-0, one of the best American amateurs ever. Didn't get Olympics because of the boycott in Moscow. And 26-0, and they thought that he was going to come and beat me easily. And so did a lot of other Australians. Again, like I said, there weren't too many Australians who watched him spar and earning the equivalent of everywhere else that didn't think that he was going to beat me. And like I said, that went 15 rounds. So it was one of the last 15-round fights in the history of the sport. So it was a tough fight. Here's a day where I couldn't fight the fight that I wanted to fight, and I had to box, and I proved that I could box as well, Paul. So it was a great performance by me and my team, It
sure was. Okay, moving along. In July 1986, you were battling weight issues, but you still went through your Olympic revenge with the 84 Los Angeles gold medalist Steve McCrory. I was at that fight too. You stopped McCrory in the 14th round and defended your IBF bantamweight championship. What are your memories of that fight? Also, it must have felt somewhat rewarding to defeat the 84 gold medalist, mate.
Yeah, definitely so. That was huge for me. I loved the fight, but also I had a broken hand prior to the fight, and I told my promoter, Bill Morley, what had happened in sparring when I got x-rays, and he said, told me that he was going to cancel the fight. So that night that he told me he was going to cancel the fight, I went out and had a big feed. Obviously, I was dieting, but I thought because the fight's not going to be on, I may as well, not celebrate, but I may as well feed myself properly. I may as well put on about 8 or 10 pounds that night. And early next morning, I get a call from Bill Morley saying, Jeff, mate, I haven't slept all night. Listen, if we don't fight, I'm going to be broke. I'm going to be bankrupt. So I said, Bill, I've just gone out and eaten all freaking night. I've put on so Bill booked me to go to Hopewood Health Farm in Malaysia there. And, and we finished our training camp off there, which was really, really difficult.
So we don't know these things.
Yeah, I couldn't punch, Paul, so I was riding bike and doing a lot of other things and sauntering. And so anyway, the last couple of days, I was really struggling to make weight, and I can never forget, but Peter Matreski, senior, was at my house, and it was early morning. I got up and I thought, if I don't make weight, I lose the title, but if I can still have the fight. But I thought to myself, I wanted to make weight, so that morning I did a 5K run with Peter with my plastics on, had the heaters on. Came back, I was still overweight. Done the run again, 5K again. Jumped back in front of the heaters, sat down for a while, still overweight. The third one after the 15K, I jumped on the scales. I collapsed. Peter Matreski had to catch me and help me sit down and relax. And anyway, I ended up finally making weight on the day. And like I said,
you pulverised him.
Yeah, well, it was a tough fight.
Look, I remember him walking out the Billy Ocean when the going gets tough, and he was doing the jive and he was doing the moonwalk. Is that correct? I can remember that. And when the going gets tough, it got tough for him, right?
Yeah, but like I said, Paul, again, my preparation was great. I had a great team there who helped me. Johnny Lewis was really, really special to me. And that was the last thing I wanted to do, was let anybody down or let anybody think that this gold medalist was going to be me. So yeah, it was a great.
Yeah, is it true Peter Matreski had to get you out of bed at 5 o'clock every morning, bang on your door harder than ever sometimes?
No.
Or was it the other way around?
No, nobody needed to bang on the door, mate. I was up, mate. I knew what I had to do and what was going to, take it for me to be the best fighter, and was me doing everything 100% correct, and I never took any shortcuts.
Okay, I bet you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay, how badly were you hurt in the 6th round of the McCrory fight? Could I ask that question?
He hit me, too right, you can. He hit me with a massive left hook. And obviously, it shook the foundations, but it's all about being mentally strong and saying this, and forget about this, just get on and say, everybody gets hit in the fight and gets hurt, and you just got to continue. So I regathered myself, and then just hands back up, try to look after myself till the end of that round, and then had my little break and was out of that again, mate.
Yeah, ended up was a 14th round. You stopped him. Okay, moving along. At any stage of your pro career, do you know if Bill Morley tried to organise a fight with Red Zepp Reposky and yourself to be a true Olympic revenge? Did it ever?
Yeah, no, I think that 100%. Yeah, nothing ever happened. I think, I don't know what he done after the Olympics. I don't think he done much at all. He may have had a couple of fights, that was it. But yeah, but there was talk about that, which I would have loved. But just as a pro, I would have at that stage as a pro, I would have annihilated him, I believe. But like I said, he was a very good amateur fighter, and he ended up getting a silver medal, and he lost on a split decision to Stephen McCrory. So a good fighter.
Did he turn pro, Red Zep?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. He might have had a couple of fights where yeah.
Okay, moving along. You relinquished the IBF Bantamweight Championship and you challenged in May 87 Thai legend Samart Pakaroon for his WBC Super Bantamweight title. I was at that too. What's your memories of that fight?
He's one of your roommates in Bangkok, I hear.
Moving along.
I was just about to fight
him as well.
Yeah, I was just about to fight a legend of the Muay Thai ranks, but also a guy who had just won the WBC most improved boxer in the world, the best prospect in the world, as he just knocked out two Mexican legends. He knocked out Lupe Pinto and he knocked out two great Mexican fighters, and nobody knocks these guys out. And it was Juan Meza. Yeah, he knocked out Juan Meza, who defended his title 9 times. So yeah, I knew I was in for a really tough fight, and I just went up a weight. I fought for the Australian featherweight title because I had an operation. I had an operation on that broken left ear after the McCrory fight, and then I went back down from featherweight to super bantamweight to obviously fight for his title. And yeah, it was a crazy night. I mean, the atmosphere was great. It was, the entertainment centre was packed, and I was ready to do my job. I was, nothing was going to stop me from becoming the first Aussie to win 2 world titles. And I think it was one of my greatest performances by the way I demolished such a great fighter who could punch it off anybody else. It was a really great performance by me.
I was there for 2 reasons. One, to watch my good mate Billy DeLuke fight on your undercard, and to watch you and you absolutely pulverised Samart Pakaroon. I was outside when he was getting wheeled into an ambulance, mate. He left the entertainment centre in an ambulance that night.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you defeated future WBC Bantamweight champion Greg Richardson with a 5th round KO in your first title defence. You also defeated Mexican legend Carlos Zarate in your second title defence. The Zarate fight was stopped in the 4th round and you were awarded a technical decision. We had Dr. Lou Lewis on the show a few months ago, and he clarified for us that the cut had hit a nerve, and that was why the fight was stopped. If the fight had not been stopped, you would have continued. How do you think the fight would have gone against Zarate?
Well, after 4 rounds, I was up by 6 points already, and
there you go.
I mean, you ask Carlos Zarate, he said, he's fighting. He's one of the greatest fighters in history.
Sure.
He had like 70-something knockouts in 80 fights, whatever it may be. Carlos and I are great friends, and then I'm happy. Look, in a way, of course I wanted to fight on, but also he like I said, the beating that he was copping was pretty severe. I'm happy that the fight that was stopped. But again, like I said, I never really wanted the fight to be stopped. I would have much preferred to have win on a couple more rounds and knock him out like I know I would have, because I just dropped him in the round previously to the fight being stopped. But like I said, I don't know, that was the night. That's how it happened,
Okay, March 1988, you made Australian history by winning your 3rd world title in 3 different weight classes. Wow. Now, this is one of your best. This is one of my. You stopped Victor Kalages in the 10th round. Wow, what a fight. Looking back at that fight, Kalages was a tremendous puncher, as he showed in the Loris Stecker fight. He caught you with a left hook in the 1st round. How badly were you hurt by that punch?
Just take you back. I made world history. I was the first boxer in the history of the sport to win 3 world titles in 3 weight divisions undefeated. So which was great. Which was a great thing for me. But like that, I never boxed for those reasons. I just boxed to win. But yeah, this kid was a murderous puncher. And it was an uppercut. He hit me with a left uppercut in the 1st round that nearly lifted me off the ground. And wow, that's most probably the worst I've been hurt by one punch. But again, he gave me a split second to recover, and my fitness and my will to win, my mental strength said, let's continue. Let's not let him know that he hurt you, and let's just continue to do what you've done. So towards the end of that 1st round, after being hurt, I put a lot of pressure on him and start hitting him. And later on in an interview, he said, which is still, I on a video on the Jeff Fenech live story, and he said after he hit me a couple of times, he went back to his corner. He said, "Am I fighting a human here?" And he said, "I've hit him with the hardest punches I've ever thrown, and he's still throwing punches at me." So he said, "Am I fighting a human?" And like I said, another great guy, somebody who would do anything to win. It was most probably the dirtiest fight in boxing history. He low, he elbowed me, I elbowed him back. He headbutted me, I headbutted him back. He summed me in the eye. I didn't sum him in the eye back, but I wanted to. But yeah, it was a crazy fight.
That's what I remember about that fight. The next day in the paper, both your eyes were nearly closed. It was a dirty fight by Courageous, and you break your right hand in that fight. What's your recollections of that when your hand went on you?
Yeah, well, the hand was broken. The hand was broken in sparring. Paul was broken before the fight. Yeah. So I went into the fight with the injury. But like I said, I'd done it so many times previously. I knew I could do it again. I was very lucky that Dr. Lou was always around, looking after me and helping me and giving me what I needed, and giving me the confidence and telling me that I could, if I used my hands right and didn't punch as hard at certain stages, and I could survive. So it was good. Like I said, a broken hand. It might sound a lot and seem like a lot of people, especially when you've got to use them so many times or as many times as I did. I just wanted to win, Paul, and I didn't even think about my hand. Well, I'm lying. There were times where I'd throw a punch and it would hurt me more than it hurt him, but still I just wanted to win so bad, and I wanted to win so badly for my trainer, for all my team, and for Australia, that I didn't let pain really bother me,
You just put it to the back of your mind, didn't you? Okay, you defended your WBC Featherweight Championship 3 times, defeating stellar opposition. In your first defence, you stopped Tyrone Downs in the 5th after being cut from an accidental head clash in the first round. What's your memories of that fight? I remember that.
Him as one of those guys who's a really fast mover and stuff, and I knew once, my volume of punches and my strength would be unequalled, and that's what happened in that fight. This little guy thinking that he could outbox me, but I knew once I caught him, I would stop him, and that happened, Paul.
Okay, in your second title offence, you stopped outspoken Georgie Navario in 5 rounds. I remember the start of his fight. Navario, to this day, blames the loss on the scales he was given. What's your recollections of the Navario fight?
Georgie Navarro, to be honest, I think he's probably the most skillful guy I ever fought.
Yeah.
And he just beat Hector Lopez, somebody who Costa Zoo fought, had a hard fight against. He'd become the American featherweight champion throughout the whole of the region, out of every region. He was really, really skillful, and he had great skill level. But like I said again, when I caught up with him and hitting him to the body, I dropped him a couple of times with the body.
Now, when the Australian national anthem was on, were you peed off as he stood next year and mimicked our national anthem?
I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, good on you.
I was in such a trance just listening to the anthem and getting ready to do what I'd done for the Australian people who support me. I didn't even realise he was there. If I did, I would have. The fight would have started a little bit earlier. No doubt.
You had your eyes closed. You're in a trance. I'm glad you didn't open your eyes, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another one of my favourites. In your third title offence was against future WBC featherweight champion Marcos Valença. You outpointed Valença over 12. What's your memories of that fight? And boy, wasn't he tough.
Yeah, Marcos Valença was one of my toughest fights ever. He's the true word of a Mexican. When you talk about Mexicans, he took more punishment from me than every other opponent that ever fought. He fought. I lost on a split decision once, and in the other fight they thought that he was wrong. But like I said, Marcus was a great fighter, a great human. And like I said, when I go to Mexico and travel the world now, it's always great to catch up with these guys.
That's great.
And reminisce about me building them up.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Okay, after the Valença fight, you retired because of your bad hands. I remember you were emotional at the press conference. You turned to playing rugby league with the Parramatta Eels. Please tell us about your rugby league career, mate.
Well, that was like I said, Paul. As I grew up, that's all I wanted to do was play rugby league and play grade. And I had an opportunity. Like I said, I didn't really retire. Everybody thinks I retired because of my hands, but there was a lot more deeper issues than that between me and Bill Morty and my new management team, IMG management. And so I didn't want to really put any pressure on anybody. So I just thought, for me, it was the first time ever I took the easy way out. But look, I had a few months off. I went and played a couple of games of rugby league, and I loved it. I loved playing for Parramatta and the team. And after that, I asked for a couple of weeks off because Jeff Harding was fighting for the world title in Atlantic City, and they gave me a week or two off, so I went over to watch the fight. I got the bug again when Jeff Harding beat Dennis Rodriguez. I thought, wow, this is what I'm great at. I'm going to go back to doing it, and I came back and I fought again.
It was only a matter of time. You come back. I've got a question for you. What's that? I mean, rugby league's a tough game. You got 13 blokes trying to knock you from all sorts of angles. Don't you think boxing's easy? You got one bloke in front of you. You can see where he is, but rugby league, you don't know where they're coming from.
I definitely say it's all different. I mean, without doubt, the toughest sport's rugby league, but the toughest sport is boxing by far, one-on-one. But I mean, in rugby league, yeah, you don't know, you hit from blind side and stuff like that. When you're as small as I was playing those boys, yeah, of course it hurts, but it's all about showing you're not hurt and you've got a job to do, you just go and do it. But like I said, if I think of it today, what would I rather have done? Play first grade rugby league, play state of origin first. That was my dream. I always wanted to be a rugby league player. So it's a hard one for me. But like I said, I'm happy that I had a couple of games in Parramatta. I'm happy I played in my junior football in a great rugby league team in there. So all good, covered all bases.
Mate, I'll stick to boxing. Okay, by the end of '89, we just spoke about that. You made your comeback to boxing. You know, Jeff Harding, he made you change your mind. So in November '89, you fought Mario Martinez in an official WBC super featherweight eliminator. Unfortunately, Martinez weighed in as a lightweight, but you still went on and won a unanimous decision. He dropped you in the 6th round. What's your recollections of that fight?
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever been dropped. So it was new, but like I said, I hit the canvas and got back up and had to do what I had to do. Like I said, I won every round, even that round. When you look at it, I was winning until I got dropped. But like I said, great fight. Like I said, these Mexicans can all fight. This guy had fought Chavez, he fought everybody. So yeah, he was a great fighter. But I was able to just get back to my plan and beat him unanimously. Yeah, so I was very, very proud.
Okay, well said. In 1990, you had your fourth world title fight set up in Sydney against Juan Laporte. Unfortunately, the fight did not go ahead due to you being ill. How do you envisage a fight with yourself and Juan Laporte if it would have gone on?
I don't know. Juan Laporte is a great friend of mine, a great fighter. The fight never went on, so I'm not going to say any bar that I respect him. He's fought the greatest fighters ever. He's one of the great lightweight fighters ever. So, like I said, all I know is that it would have been one hell of a fight. It would have won, it didn't happen. So, of course, I took the fight because I thought I could win. But boxing, he's a great puncher, so I give him all credit.
I interviewed him at the 2016 WBC convention, and he said he would have loved to have fight. It would have been a great fight. He had nothing but respect. I played that on the radio years ago. Geez, mate, it's about time you come on this show. It's been a while.
Well, I've been telling you, mate. You thought I was going to charge you.
Okay,
I do things for other people I like, Paul.
Moving along, Azuma Nelson. Now here's a name. Outpointed Juan Laporte. I was at that fight too, and he won back his WBC Super Featherweight Championship. You had to travel to Vegas to fight Nelson on the undercard of Tyson vs. Ruddock rematch. You won the fight easily. Many thought it was your best performance as a pro, but the judges scored it as a draw. Looking back, what's your memories of that fight?
Well, definitely wasn't my best performance in my career. People think I was because of the enormity of the fight. As in Vegas, it was my first fight that I signed a $5 million deal with Don King. It was a huge fight, but for me, it certainly wasn't my best performance. My best performance, if it was on that night, I would have stopped him. There was plenty of times during that fight where I thought I could have stopped him. I just couldn't get off what I wanted to do. But like I said, they hit his mouth guard for a minute so in one round where I think if they didn't do that, I might have stopped him. I think the referee, Joe Cortez, was terrible. And like I said, I think that, it was a great fight. But when you win 9 or 10 rounds in a fight and they give it a draw, it's really sad. And that's what they done to me that night. It's another corrupt decision against me.
It sure was. Now, Don King, what did he say to you when it was a draw? Don King said something to you, and I read your lips what you said back to him.
Yeah, he said, don't worry, rematch, we'll have a rematch, And I told him, give the rematch to Paul Nasari, is my words.
Okay, you came back without a world title, but as a huge star. In your next fight against Miguel Francio, you won a unanimous decision, but it was not the same Jeff Fenech that we're used to. What do you attribute the slump in form was?
Yeah, Paul, and I've said that's the truth is what you're saying, but I don't know what it was. I can't say, I'll never forget coming back from Vegas. Obviously a huge star and everything else, but when I started sparring again, there were times during the fight, during my spars where I got hurt, where I've never been hurt in a spar in my life. And I thought to myself, wow, something, but I just thought I'd get back into the office, get back into the ring, and it's going to change. But I think there's a time in everybody's career where, things happen, and I think that adversity and all that heartbreak that happened to me took a lot out of me. I was never the same. And not just that, Paul, maybe all the hard sparring. As you know, I used to spar Jeff Harding and Alan McNamara, Justin Fortune. So I was sparring some big boys, and maybe that came back and bit me on the backside. And back then, Johnny Lewis and the trainers, we knew nothing about the concussions and things that happen through that and getting hit a lot. But so, I don't know, Paul, but I never was really the same after that fight. But I always tried to convince myself that I could find that old Jeff Fenech, but he never came back, mate.
Okay, now Zuma Nelson rematch. You lost your first fight by being stopped in the 8th round. What went wrong in that fight?
Oh, everything. I got dropped in the first round. I'm not sure what it was, Paul, but like I said, I know. I went to the neurologist after, and I had lots of things that were wrong with me. I had the doctor who gave me my injections for the fight. I still had Marcaine in my body to have an operation the next day. So look, a lot of mistakes were made, and I thought I was going to win the fight easily. So Johnny Lewis thought everybody thought we were just going to go back and it's going to be a repeat of the first fight. And I would stop you.
Yeah.
But to the greatest Zuma Nelson's credit, he went home, trained his backside off, and came back and he reversed what happened in the first fight. He beat me up. So congratulations to him. And like I said, we were just. Why was it? I was overconfident. I was overcocky. I was doing things I'd never done before. I was out doing public appearances 2 nights before the fight. I'd never did in my life before a fight. But I was confident. I was confident. I was cocky, and that's what happens to you when you get overconfident. You get too cocky. Yeah.
Okay, mate, your career's, you know your career's coming to an end now. In '96, you received a shot at Philip Holliday for the IBF lightweight title. Unfortunately, you were stopped in 2 rounds. Looking back, what do you think went wrong in that fight?
Yeah, well,
Just
again, I was sparring great. I was sparring Hector Lopez. I was having some great sparring sessions. I thought everything was great again, but I don't know. Like I said, once I went back out at that stage, and I got hit by guys who were much bigger than Philip Holliday and never got hurt sparring. And then, so I really can't put my finger on why it happened. But like I said, again, a great human, Philip Holliday, great person, great fighter, and for me, there's no embarrassment to losing to anybody. As long as you've done your best, I prepared the best I could, Paul. But I just wasn't the same. Once, listen, if you get a sore knee or a sore hip or a sore elbow, we can replace them, brother. When your chin is starting to deteriorate, you can't cope with punching anymore. There's no chin replacements, brother. So there's my resistance had left me, and it was time to say goodbye to the sport.
Yeah, geez, that's well said, mate. No truer word said. Looking back at your career, who do you regard as your toughest opponent?
Victor Courageous.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, which fight would you say was your best performance?
Marcus Villasana or Samar Pakaroon, Victor Courageous, those 3 fights all stand out for me because I had broken hands in all of them, and I was able to beat world-class opponents. People have all won world titles.
Okay, you must have sparred many rounds with different boxers, including myself, mate. I was, yours
were the hardest by far.
I'm still chuffed to this day, mate, that I shared the ring with you a few times, and the Rouseville's and the Eddie Unans, mate, we all still talk about you, mate. Okay, Greg Horgan rates Jeff Fenech as the toughest sparring partner he ever had. Jeff also sparred Roger Mayweather, then Mayweather was the WBC super lightweight champion. Greg Hogan said that about you, mate. You were the toughest.
He was my sparring partner for Zuma Nelson one fight. Like I said, he beat Hector Camacho. He beat all those guys. But against him, we had some great sparring. Saying Hills Bay he's a great friend of mine. He was great sparring. Helped me prepare. I sparred Roger Mayweather.
You boxed Roger Mayweather, wow.
All good. All great sparring. All great experiences.
Okay, we're covering a few more, mate. In the documentary, Fenech the Fighter, and there's a lot of good documentaries, folks, listeners out there. I was just looking at one before. They'll pump you up. It's very touching to see your relationship with Johnny Lewis. He was more than a boxer. He was more than a boxer and a trainer. How is your relationship with Johnny Lewis today?
Definitely not the same as it was back then, but like I said...
Why is that, mate?
You'll have to ask Johnny that, but it's all good. For me, all I can say is that without him, I certainly wouldn't have been where I am today. He was a major part of everything I've done, and I'm really, really proud to say that. And he is a kind of a person that is infectious, that you would die for and you would do anything for. As you know, everybody who has trained with him or worked with him knows he's one of those guys who really motivates. He's a great motivator, and he, like I said, he makes you believe in yourself. And I mean, that was really important for me as a young kid, coming from nothing and living in St. Peter's and Mayville, and then somebody instilling this amazing confidence and self-belief in myself. So I can never say anything except that Johnny played a major part in who I am today.
That's well said. We all love Johnny Lewis, mate. Okay, you made a very successful transition from boxer to trainer. You had so many great boxers in your gym. Skinny Hussain, Hassan Hussain, Nader Hamden, Victor Archinian, Danny Green, and many others. When Danny decided that he would have a new trainer, that must have been a very painful moment in your life. Did it make you turn your back on boxing?
No, not really. Not that. I just thought that boxing was heading in a crazy direction. There was lots of different things happening at fight nights, and that made me just question the sport a little bit. But no, Danny Green done what he had to do. It was his decision, and people make decisions, whether they're good or bad, right or wrong. We make them for a reason. He made his, and he moved on. I moved on with mine, and I'm where I am today. He's where he is. If I see him, I've always respected him, because I can never forget the memories that we had when we went to Canada and beat Eric Lucas. The memories of fighting Marcus Bayer. They were crazy times for me and my team. And like I said, Sakio, all those boys who we trained with, it was amazing. But the same brothers definitely were very, very special to me. And my first fight was Pierre Karam. So he's very, very special. He's very, very special to me. I really love him and his family. He's one of the most beautiful kids you'll ever meet. So I've been blessed. Nader Hamden, who I trained, and now I train his son Hass. So it's great to have lifelong friendships and things that you'll never forget. Like I said, training the Hussains and Nader Hamden and my team, Victor Archinian at Bankstown and at Marrickville, were days that I'll never forget, and maybe days that nobody can ever replace. So, but like I said, at the moment, Paul, I've got a great team with me. I've got a new young boy from Melbourne named Caesar African. I've got a little guy from Tasmania named Tyler Blizzard. And these kids are just beautiful kids. With Brock Jarvis and Jack Brubaker and Jacob Clemshaw. I've got a little group of boys around me that I'm really enjoying not the success, but just the fact that I'm teaching them to be better. Not just better fighters, but better humans as well. So I'm in a great position at the time, and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. I was going to bring up Brock Jarvis. Please tell us more about Brock. He's going to be a world champion one day, like Jeff Fenech, isn't he?
Well, I hope so. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I just know that I've trained boxing since he was 16 years old. He had 11 or 13 amateur fights, and he's just getting better. Every fight I had, from his first pro fight to his second or third, he's got better and better. And if you have a look at his opponents, one guy hasn't fought, the bum of the week. He's fought good fighters from Indonesia. He's fought fighters from everywhere, and he's just got better and better. He's fought fighters who fought for the world title, went the distance. So he's but look, with Brock, it's all a progression. It's about doing things at the right time, and maybe next week you'll see, you'll have a big report to say that he's just about to sign with one of the biggest boxing promoters in the world. So everything's going good for Brock.
Isn't it ironic, back in the day at Newtown PCYC, the constable was his uncle Pat Jarvis, and you would never have known you were going to train his nephew to be Brock. It's unbelievable, isn't it, how things pan out?
Yeah, it is, mate. The world's a funny place, and his uncle played a major part in my life and my career, being a policeman who was called a couple of things that I, misbehaved in, and he sent me to the youth club and was always there training with me, helping me for many, many years. throughout my career, and we're still great friends today. Me, him, and his whole family, and I'm looking forward to Brock, hopefully doing what I done and even doing better than I done. That's my plan with Brock, is to hopefully make him the most successful Australian fighter in history.
And may I add, Brock Jarvis had his first fight at Club Punch Bowl on a neutral corner card. I had to throw that in, Jeff Fenech, didn't I?
Yeah, you can throw that in, because Paul, let me throw something about you, mate. You're one person who I've never heard anybody say a bad word about you. You help everybody you can.
Not one.
not bad words. They might have bought somebody a drink or something, which is bad. That's just tight. But no, listen, mate. All I want to say is that everybody that I know, you've always given the opportunity to help everybody, mate. You've been in the sport for a long, long time. You've ridden the hardest times in boxing. You're still there today. You're there for one reason, because you are a super nice guy and you do try to help people, and you always put on great shows, and that's why you have always had your little, you don't have these major sponsors like everybody else, but you always have those little supporters like you are. You're not in the major league. You're in the minor league, but you play that minor game better than anybody else, and I hope you become a major league player, because you deserve it, mate.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. As the great Johnny Lewis said, you can only do your best, son, and mate, that's all I do. And I love, people think I'm mad when I say this, but I love promoting amateur fighters, because I'm building a platform for these pro fighters, mate, as they're going to be our tomorrow's pro fighters, and anybody that promotes amateur boxing deserves a medal. Any boxing, to tell you the truth.
100%. Just to say something else, just as I tell you how tight you are, you bring up Johnny Lewis, and I'm hoping to teach that as well, Paul. I'll tell you what, I'd like to see you and Johnny sit in the bar, see who's going to buy the drink. There'll be one night there wasn't a drink brought.
Mate, there was a Mexican standoff when I went down with Costa Zoo when I fought on Eastcard, who was going to get the coffee and cake in Newcastle.
Oh, yeah?
It lasted 20 minutes. In the end, I broke free.
No, don't pull that. You don't tell me you got it.
Believe it. Okay. You also trained Mike Tyson. I had to throw this in, mate. You trained Mike Tyson late in his career. Please tell us about that and any inside stories on Iron Mike Tyson.
I don't forget the story, but that was most probably one of the greatest periods of my life. Working with my great friend, who's my great friend today. Yeah. And I've just to say that I've trained is great enough.
Wow.
I only wish I trained him earlier in his career, and so does he, and so does a lot of people that I know that know him. But no, it didn't happen. But everything happens for a reason. We're great friends. I stopped the fight. I never let him get hurt, which is the most important thing. And like I said, even the thing that's more important than is we're great friends still today. And what's even more important than that, look how Mike Tyson's been able to turn his life around and do great things that he's doing today.
How did you meet Mike Tyson?
I was at an award ceremony where I got a runner of boxer in the world, second to Ray Leonard, and Tyson was coming in there and he seen me and, Jeff Fenech, you're my favourite fighter, you're from Australia. Yeah, he knew everything about me, and it was really, really exciting, yeah.
You clicked straight away. I remember going to your place years ago, and I was looking at some gloves, and there was a big pair of gloves. They had 20 ounce written on them, and I said, geez, Jeff, who's it, eh? And you said, they're Mike Tyson's.
Yeah.
When he spars.
Yeah, when he sparred, just to make sure that, he wasn't knocking everybody out. I got him to make 20 ounce gloves for him, yeah.
Okay, there is a rumour that a movie is being made on your life story. Can you please tell us more about the movie and when it will be out? Is this true?
It's true. It's not a rumour out there. John Jarrett and a team of people have been sitting with me prior to COVID, going through quite a lot of different things about my life, and then hopefully, I'm not sure if there'll be a live story. They think it's good enough, but also I've got the guys from Netflix and all going to very, very soon do a series on my life as well. Wow. So there's a few things happening, but like I said, I'm looking forward to just doing things slowly and making sure that whatever's done is going to be done correctly, and it's going to be what the people love. It's going to be people friendly, what people love,
Well, there you go, folks. I've had that question put to me. Okay, I'm glad you answered that. In 2019, you had some serious health issues. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm alive. I'm lucky to be alive. Had I went to bed that night and the boys not pulled the ambulance to my room, I would have been not here. I would have been, I don't know, playing with a couple of my friends down in the hill. But look, I'm blessed that I am here, and my health is great. I feel great. I'm here celebrating with my family and friends every day, and I live life to the fullest. And it's great,
And you love a bottle of, you love a glass of wine at Red every night or every second night, mate?
A glass. My wife and I, we eat out every night. We go to little restaurants, but obviously with our parents. But yeah, we love our wine. We have wine. We have red wine every night.
Mate, last question. Looking back at your career, how do you want Jeff Fenech to be remembered?
To be honest, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I know. I don't care what. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Everybody has that. But for me, I know who I am. I've got one judge, but my judge is the mirror. I look at every day. I know what I do. I know what I do for people. I know that there's nobody in the world that's as charitable as me. I know how many people I help. I do it every day. And I love helping people. And that's one reason why I love helping people, is because if it wasn't for the people, I wouldn't be in the radio station. People listen to me because they made me the hero. I've got a car to drive in a house because the people paid to watch Jeff Fenech fight. So I owe nothing to anybody but the people who supported me, and whatever opinion they have of me, let them have it. And it's their opinion, let them make their own. But I know who I am, so I sit very, very comfortably like I said, when I'm brushing my teeth and looking in the mirror at what I see.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well, I said it to Jeff Harding back in the day, the two Jeffs. We'll never forget the two Jeffs, Jeff Harding, Jeff Fenech. I said it to him when he was on a few months ago. You guys were an inspiration to us young amateurs and fighters coming up through the ranks back in the day. We all look up to you, and we wish you'd come to the veteran boxers when we have them. All the boys are there, Justin Rousel, Cornette, trying to get Eddie Union to come along and have a drink with us next time, mate. You're just one of the boys, mate.
Come under one condition, you shout.
I'm going to shout. Well, it
looks like I won't be going for another 20 years.
Well, they'll put a few drinks on the bar, and I'll go up and shout you a couple, mate. Jeff Fenech, it's been an absolute honour having you on my show, mate. I know it took 5 years, but I've finally done it.
You're all great, Paul. Just know that you'll always be my great friend. I love what you do for the sport of boxing. I love what you do. Everything you do is first class. So thank you for this opportunity, and hope that the listeners enjoy it.
Thanks a lot, Jeff Fenech. Bye for now. And that was Jeff Fenech. That's one of my best interviews. I absolutely love that one. We'll go to a break, and we'll be back very shortly. Don't go away.